Alright, so another video. Today, last video, it was the best designer brand fragrances that you can get. Now, I'm doing niche brands. Now, I don't have a ton of niche brands, and generally speaking, I like designer brands on average more, but there are some niche brands. I think when it comes to niche brands, the best niche brands are going to be the best fragrance brands that you can buy from, and then everything else is just overpriced and not worth it. Most of the time, I'm going to recommend a designer brand over a niche brand just because niche brands charge a lot more because all they make is fragrances. So I have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven niche brands in this household, two of which are not mine. So I have five. And then my roommate has some other stuff. I'll just say which ones are mine, which ones are his. Coming in at last, and again, there's so many niche brands. You know, you can go to a major like a Neiman Marcus, and they have brands. Every time I go there, it's like there's brands I've never heard of, you know, or brands that I'm not too familiar with, but I've heard of. But one of the worst ones, definitely. And if you were to ask me, out of the ones I'm familiar with, which one is the worst, I would say Montal. Now, the one thing I can give Montal, this is his. I don't have a Montal. Um, the one thing I could say about Montal is they do have one of the coolest bottles. It's almost like a Christmas ornament uh, type deal, and then they got this. I would say out of all the Montals I've smelled, this is the best Montal I've smelled. It's called Chocolate Greedy. I'm not a huge gourmand fragrance. I don't like smelling like food, but I think that if you're big into chocolate fragrances, this is like the best chocolate fragrance you can get. But every time I smell Montal, it's pretty dog shit. Um, yeah. Coming at okay, so that's seven. So at six, this one is also not that great in my opinion. Um, Talked about it before. This is his Mancera. So Mancera, this is my favorite fragrance from Mancera that I've smelled. Um, and this is one of my least favorite fragrances in the world, and I think it's extremely overrated. That's not good. I don't like that at all. Cedra Boise Intense is probably their most well. Cedra Boise, whether you get the intense or the regular version, this is like their most popular, and it's decent. I think it's an acquired taste, but this is one of my least worn and probably one of my least favorite in my collection, even though it is decent. Um, Mancera, yeah, Cedro Boise, Instant Crush. They have Red Tobacco, which is very polarizing. I don't like it at all. Also, just not really that good of a brand. Although I will give them bonus points for that, for the fact that they're not that expensive for a niche brand. A lot of niche brands are, a lot of them dabble in the three to four, or and even higher hundreds. But this is 200 because it's an intense, and then this one I think is I have no idea, to be honest. I think it is almost 200. But Mancera at six. Number five. This used to be my fragrance. I traded it to him. If you've seen past videos, you probably know what I'm talking about. Xerjoff. Now, Erba Pura. Let's talk about this particular fragrance. The way I got this fragrance, and originally this was mine. I bought this. Um, for those of you who don't know, and pretty much none of you know, because why would you know this? I do martial arts. I've been doing martial arts for a long time, and this was a while ago. I haven't done it in a while because of college and other stuff. But during boxing days, um, and kickboxing days, this one guy used to come in, and he we just were paired up because we were similar age, and we were paired up a lot. And the one time we were in a clinch, and I was wearing Parfums de Marly Layton, which I had a tester of it because I don't have the full bottle, and he asked me what fragrance I was wearing, and I said I'm wearing Parfums de Marly, and he was like, which one? And I said Layton. I didn't know he was like a fragrance guy. Anyways, time moves on. We become close friends, and he has an extensive collection, even bigger than mine. And he used to bring in. He has a shit ton of testers, and he was like, "Bro, I got this one. It's called Herba Pura. I'm gonna bring it in." He brought it in, sprayed it on my hand, right here. Smelled it. I was like, "That's really good. Like that's fruity smelling and vanilla." I was like, "That's really good." Put on my gloves, went through a whole 2 hour class of sparring and sweating and everything. Took it off. I smelled it, and it was like pretty much the same level of intensity. It's that strong. I immediately bought it. Um, got it on this third party website for like 182 or 185 or something. Anyways, I won't bore you with going too out of context or going. I digress. Um, I used to wear this fragrance a lot, and I loved it. And nowadays, it's not common to get the velvet bottles. This is a velvet bottle. On the website I got it, you could choose if it was velvet or not, and I think I paid more for the fact that I got a velvet bottle. This fragrance sickens me now. It is that strong. And I remember going on Fragrantica, and I was looking at the ratings, and the ratings were pretty low. And I was like, I guess, people just don't like how it's so strong. But it is, like, sickeningly strong now. Now I get it. Whoa. I mean, that's really strong. And I've talked about it before in other videos. My coat, my winter coat, I would wear it on my neck, of course. And the collar of my not even touching my neck, the collar of my coat would smell like Herba Pura. And the one time, my mom thought that it smelled like weed, the dry down, which I I know where I can understand where it's coming from. I tried to argue. I was like, I didn't smoke weed, because you could smell everywhere else in the jacket. That only smells where the neck is. I'm telling you, it's in the cologne. So that just goes to show it's not that great. Now let's talk about the brand. Wasted some time there. Xerjoff does make Naxos, which is very good and is the best fragrance I've smelled from the brand. I always do not remember if it's Torino 21 or 22 that I like. One of them I like, one of them I don't like. If I were to put money on which one is the one I like, to be honest, I have no idea. I'd say I have 60% confidence that it's Torino 21. One of the Torino 21 and 22 is the one I do like, one of them, and I don't like the other one. I think Torino 21 is the one that I like. Overall, Xerjoff, not super expensive, but I mean, generally expensive, but for niche concept, it's not super expensive. So I do think Xerjoff is decent, but I do think it's overrated. And I've heard people say that they don't like it at all. Coming in at number 4 is one of the most celebrated fragrance houses that there is. Let's see if I can pick them up like this. Maison Francis Kurkdjian, or MFK. They make the one and only Baccarat Extrait. This is the Baccarat EDP. EDP. This was also originally mine, traded it to him because I don't care for that one. This one, I don't wear much because I haven't, like, this is like a very, like, you have to know what you're doing that day, where you're going. If you're staying inside all day, do not wear this. If I'm going out and I know I'm going to be doing a lot of things and it's winter, I'll be wearing that. But you can see this is barely worn. I got it when it was basically full. This has probably been sprayed like, I don't know how many times, but MFK does make some good stuff. Oud Satin Mood. There's other, I'm not a huge, like, into politics of like MFK. It'll come into focus. I'm not huge in the MFK, so I don't know a ton about it, but I do know that they make some fragrances that I do like. And I don't know the names of them. The ones I just pick up and smell. There's like a bluish aqua bottle that I like. So MFK would be 4. As we're still out of focus here, Initio is 3. Initio is good. They have side effect. They have absolute aphrodisiac. They got some good stuff. The one thing is they don't last. Some of them don't last that long. This one doesn't last too long, and they are very expensive. Now these very expensive. How are we still out of focus? I mean, this is ridiculous. I don't even know how to get it back into focus. It's bullshit, bro. Logitech sucks. Yeah, Initio, this is $410, to be honest. And this isn't even 100 milliliters. This is 75. No, it's not 90. It's 90. Their normal size is 90. It's not that big of a difference, but it's like, you know, if when you're talking $410, it's like, please. Okay, I'm gonna try and focus this up real quick. All right, we're back. Initio, too expensive, but it is good. Now, the next 2, because now we're in the 2, could genuinely be interchanged. The only reason I have the one I have at 1 is because there's just I just think it's slightly better. But these are so close. Number 2 is the bearer of my favorite fragrance in my collection, Mind Games by French Defense. Or no, French Defense by Mind Games. Mind Games is the brand. This is my favorite fragrance in my collection. I honestly thought it would be more worn than that. I do wear this pretty often in the winter, but it's coming up summer now, so I probably won't be wearing this that much. They're one of the best fragrance brands in the world, I think. But there is one that I do think is probably the best fragrance house that you can possibly buy from. Mind Games has French Defense. They have Vieri. That's I don't even have that here. There's a lot of stuff that Mind Games makes that is really good. I haven't really smelled a bad fragrance. There's fragrances I don't care for, but then there are fragrances that I would consider to be objectively bad. I haven't smelled any from Mind Games. Mind Games, this is like $375. It is expensive, but if we're talking purely quality of the fragrances, they have all the right to charge what they do. Coming in at number 1 now, and like I said, Mind Games is very well could be number 1, but Parfums de Marly has got to be the overall best. Their bottles. This is the normal size. This is a 75. This is 125. This is his. This is mine. I've talked very high about this being one of my favorites. Absolutely incredible. And then Habdan, also pretty good. They make Altair, one of my favorite fragrances ever. Leighton, one of my fragrance that I really want to get at some point. Percival, the reason why I named this channel Percival, also very good fragrance. Wajan, which is I haven't smelled in almost 2 years, but it is very good. Parfums Marly, I think, is the best fragrance house in the world. If someone asked me, just tell me the name of a brand, and I'm gonna buy a fragrance from that. I'm telling them Parfums de Marly. If they don't care about price or any of that, I would tell them Parfums de Marly. So that's it. You got other ones like Amouage. There's so many niche brands. There's more niche brands than there are designer brands. But I feel like a lot of these are very mainstream. I'm not a huge fan of Amouage. There's some other ones I'm not a huge fan of. But at the end of the day, the list goes like this: number 7, Montal; number 6, Mancera; number 5, Zerjov; number 4, MFK; number 3, Initio; number 2, Mind Games; and then number 1, Parfums de Marly. And if you asked me in an alternate universe 10 times to put these in order, chances are all 10 times it's going to be like this. So even though 1 and 2 are very close, Mind Games has all the potential in the world to be considered the best, in my opinion. But I think Parfums de Marly, they're more well known in the fragrance community as well as just in life. They're just more well known. But that's it. I got Parfums de Marly at 1. So, thank you for watching.